Yes.
All right.
Welcome, Joyce. Welcome to the call. And also,
Yeah, you can finish your sentence.
okay, also welcome to the Facebook community. Let's get started.
Ashe.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Welcome, 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 welcome. Wake up, everybody, community. I'm Dr. Jewa Lea, and I'm a mastery coach, author, and the author of the book Core Perfectum: What You Don't Know About Your Heart May Be Killing Your Life. And I am facilitating this call this morning, uh, call number 278, I believe, of the Wake Up Everybody community. And I wanted to speak on how consciousness is the end all be all in your health experience, in your health and wellness experience. Um, as a best practitioner, and best stands for bioenergetic synchronization technique. Um, it's a technique that looks at emotional memory patterns and the impact that it has on your body's ability to heal itself. And so the technique basically does like a control alt delete on your nervous system and your body, so and provides a clean slate so that you can heal effectively. If we think about what health is, and the meaning of health, what would you say is the definition of health and how it is achieved? So I'm opening that up to the community. If anyone wants to raise their hands or put something in the chat, what is health or wellness, either one, and how is that attained? How is health and wellness attained? So if you could put that in the chat, that'll be appreciated. Do we have anything yet from our Facebook community? From our Zoom community? I know it's early. Let's shake it off. Let's get the juices going.
It's going to take a minute for folks to think and then type.
Okay. So health and wellness, how is that attained? What is the definition in health and wellness? So two questions, twofold question. I'm sure people have ideas about that, and I want to hear what they are before I share mine. So health is the absence of pain and depression. That's from Nefertiti. Thank you, Nefertiti. Health is physical, mental, and emotional well-being. That's from Terry. Thank you, Terry.
Amelia from Facebook says feeling at peace within your body.
Feeling at peace within your body. Thank you, Amelia. Maintenance of homeostasis. That's from Amal. Thank you, Amal. By looking in, listening to, or responding to your body and emotions. That's from Charmaine. Thank you, Charmaine.
It's from Charmaine via Sienna Robinson on Facebook.
Okay, thank you, Sienna. Don't want to discount her contribution. Yes, health and wellness is it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's a matter of consciousness. So if we think about God consciousness or universal consciousness, that everything is perfect, whole, and complete, that all things are available to us if we are in the right frame of mind or awareness, then health would be the picture of that. That would be the reflection of that, the acknowledgement that we are perfect, whole, and complete, the consciousness that we are perfect, whole, and complete, the awareness that we are perfect, whole, and complete, and holding that awareness within ourselves and not looking to something outside of ourselves to affirm that awareness. So disease would be the opposite of that. It would be not being aware that we're perfect, whole, and complete. And so my hypothesis this morning, or my thesis this morning, is that consciousness plays the only role in our health picture. If we are, if we feel and see ourselves as perfect, whole, and complete, and hold that in our consciousness, then what would have to happen energetically is that we would be perfect, whole, and complete. Anytime we turn away from that picture of perfect, whole, and complete, then that's when disease starts. And so that's the simplified version of it. So I'm going to delve into this a little bit deeper so that we can see the nuances of how we turn away from the universal consciousness of perfect, whole, and complete on a moment-to-moment basis, and how we can realign with that if we so choose. So in my practice, we look at something called the 6 essentials. And so the 6 essentials are, I have a slide for that. Wait for the slide. Here we go. Technology. So the 6 essentials are what you eat. So everybody knows that what you put in your body, the fuel that you put in your body, has an impact on your health. You can eat healthy foods, things that are considered healthy for you may not be healthy for another person, depending on your biochemical makeup. If you really want to get that precise with it, you want to eat whole foods, green leafy vegetables, all that kind of stuff. What you drink, water. You never can go wrong with water. And now water has become a boutique industry. I mean, it's really become this whole thing. We have flavored waters and sparkling waters and waters that are alkalized or, enhanced with minerals or distilled, water being manipulated in a way so that it's beneficial to our body. So water, since we're made up primarily biochemically of water, water is hugely important in our health picture and maintaining this vehicle that we use to get around. How you breathe. Most of us are shallow breathers. We breathe from our chest as opposed to our abdomen. And how you breathe and what you breathe, if you're a smoker or not, has a huge impact on your health picture. You can just instantly change how your body is functioning by focusing on your breath. breath is a very powerful way of shifting your health picture. So anytime that you're feeling distressed or want to feel centered, the first thing you always want to go to is the breath and breathing deeply. So that's an essential. The third essential. The fourth essential is how you exercise. Walking, running, swimming, any of those kind of things, yoga, um, any of those kind of things are, great. And everybody has their thing. Gardening is considered an exercise. I rehab houses. I consider that my exercise. Lifting, the squatting, all the pulling, all those different things. Dancing, I would consider as exercise. So how you exercise also has an impact on your health picture. How you rest. Most of us don't get enough sleep, um, statistically speaking. And depending on who you're reading, they say that you need 4 to 5 hours of restful sleep to be good. Some people say you need 8 to be good. So anywhere between 5 and 8 hours is considered a benchmark, depending on what's going on. You always want to try to reach REM sleep, where you're in deep sleep, so that your brain can go through its cycles. Your brain is actually cleansing itself while you're asleep. Also, while you're asleep, your consciousness is connected to God consciousness, or universal consciousness. And so the deeper that you're able to rest, the more connected you are with that energy, that universal force energy that powers all of us. And so it's a great time to rejuvenate yourself for all those reasons, with resting. Even resting during the day, taking a power nap during the day is beneficial in order for you to feel that you have your health and wellness. But these first 5, what you eat, what you drink, how you breathe, how you exercise, how you rest, are all diminished. You can do all these 5 perfectly. Eat the great foods, drink plenty of water, breathe abdominally and properly and fully, exercise frequently during the week or during the day, and rest properly. But if the 6th one is not done well, it negates the first 5, and that's what you think. So your thinking habits outweigh all the other 5. So your level of consciousness, your level of perception rules your health, because in any given moment, you are either in alignment with God consciousness or your alignment with ego consciousness. And on a moment to moment basis, you are making this decision of where you're aligning based on the decisions that you're making in your daily walk. So mentalism, the next slide, please. The universal law of mentalism plays a huge role in our health experience, because we are consciousness. We are consciousness. So mentalism is described here. So the all is mind. The universe is mental. We live in a psychic universe. So thoughts lead to the manifestation of things and events. Thoughts create our state of existence and the quality of our experience here on earth. Therefore, be responsible for everything you create by being responsible for everything that you think. And this includes your health. So disease is a function of your mentalism. I'm going to just say that again. Disease is a matter of your consciousness and your ability to apply the law of mentalism. We are perfect, whole, and complete. So we're whole. What does that mean? That means that we have everything that we need. We are equipped with everything that we need to exist. We are perfect. meaning that there's no flaws in us. And we are the natural extension of the divine, and we are complete. That, like I said, everything that we need is within us. Now, our experience here on earth would make us think otherwise, but that is part of the whole game of life. We are extensions of the divine. We are a way for divinity to experience what life is like on the earth plane through our five senses. So the only way that that God could know what a mango tastes like, or what a sunset looks like, or what music sounds like, is through us, through our consciousness. And so being that connected, or having that role here on earth, or in this lifetime, we really are confronted with the challenges of what it's not to be perfect, whole, and complete on a daily basis. We are constantly being bombarded with information saying that you need this in order to feel sexy. You need this. You need a man in order to feel complete. You need a house in a certain neighborhood in order to feel satisfied. You need a degree in order to be worthy of a certain status or respect. I'm Dr. Jewa Lea, and a lot of times I won't tell people that I'm a doctor, because there's a whole sense of perception that goes along with the title doctor that may not be true, or there's a bias, especially when I'm dealing with contractors. I'm going to say that. When I'm dealing with contractors and renovating properties, doctor is nowhere in there, because as soon as they hear doctor, they say, okay, she has money. A lot of money, and I could just charge whatever. There's an upcharge. There may be an upcharge with that, and that's yeah. So being perfect, whole, and complete, and being in alignment with God consciousness, we are constantly competing with the bombardment of this worldly consciousness that we have, that's telling us otherwise. So can I have some comments on so far what we've discussed? The whole idea of universal consciousness versus worldly consciousness.
All righty. So let's hear from some folks that are in the space. We'd love to hear from Amal. We've been missing you, Amal. So welcome back into the space. So what are your thoughts about what Jewa has put before us this morning?
That's amazing. And what I mean by that, I'm getting ready to do a little lecture on universal law. So this is just absolutely perfect. And it's dealing with the consciousness of, or the trauma that us as a group of people have experienced, and how that has trickled down into our family consciousness, the levels of self, into individual consciousnness. And that as long as we're sitting and thinking that we are not whole, perfect, and complete, that affects our thinking of who and whose we are. So
Yes.
This is absolutely perfect, and the trauma and the illness that is experienced in our community is also a download from that, from our group trauma down into our individual trauma.
Yes.
Or individual health. All right. So yeah, this is absolutely perfect. And I have been on. I won something Sunday. You weren't there.
Oh, excuse me. Well, I missed you. And I miss you.
Yeah, you missed me. I'm just saying.
I love you for it.
I love you too.
Yes.
I'm done.
Thank you, Amal. Yeah. I think this is a conversation that's long overdue for the general public, because we are especially during this time of pandemic and COVID, there's so much fear around the idea of this thing, this invisible thing that is out there lurking to attach itself or invade us and cause us to be sick. And I know that over 500,000 people have died as a result of I'm going to say, as the result of COVID and the idea around COVID. I'm just going to say that because the fear that is pervasive is actually setting the stage for disease to present itself. And so if you have global fear, have a fear that's global, I should say, and you can't escape from it. Can't escape from it. You go from from country to country. You can't, from household to household. It's the pervasive conversation, unless you choose to align yourself otherwise, think otherwise. And so the whole idea of fear laying the groundwork for disease. We are energetic beings. And so as energy, we vibrate and we have different frequencies. And so emotions that are of high frequency would be love, praise, gratitude, happiness. All these things are sickness, and that went too fast for me. So if someone could read that for me, that'd be great. So
Okay,
love.
Teresa.
Go ahead. So go ahead.
Okay. Teresa says sickness. So she is, I think she's continuing from the previous conversation. So she says, I believe this wholly, me accepting sickness is why I stayed sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm picking up her recent comment, which is sickness. And I feel like it formed a being that assisted in staying sick and accepting sickness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gina also said, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Gina also said, I have seen people getting sick with COVID symptoms and never tested positive for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The whole idea of sickness, and I'm going to say it's an idea because that's exactly what it is mind trippy. And I'm just going to say that. And I see Afua's hand, but I'm going to hold off. Let me finish this one point and then we'll go to Afua. Is mind trippy in the sense that it's happening to me. I feel a certain way. How could this not be real? Or how could I have made this up in my mind if I'm actually experiencing it? And so it's a reinforcement thing that happens once it starts physically manifesting. You're looking at, with your five senses, how you're feeling, what you're not able to taste anything, your nose is running, all these different things are happening physically that reinforce the idea of illness. But I'm here to tell you that as soon as you change your mind about it, that will go away because it's just an idea. It's just a perception of low vibration thought being encompassed. And as a result, though, that energy will allow your body to respond in a certain way. And so as soon as you change your awareness, as soon as you shift your consciousness to knowing your divine birthright and aligning with that, those symptoms will go away. Now, I'm not just speaking airy fairy kind of stuff. This is rooted in science. I mean, quantum physics. And in my practice, I see it all the time. People come in with ailments. We identify the emotional connection, the emotional root of that ailment. We break that pattern that that emotion has caused in their subconscious. And then their body starts healing because they've changed their mind. They've changed their consciousness about what is going on with them or their experience and how they're experiencing their lives. So I'll go to Afua now. Afua, can't hear you.
I don't see her on here anymore.
Huh, okay,
I think she dropped.
okay. All right, so um, let's see.
Oh, she's joining us right now.
Okay, so Afua, you had your hand raised. Can you hear us?
I just asked her to unmute.
Yeah, yes. I just wanted to testify to in 2000, I went to a doctor and he told me I had diffuse demyelinating polyneuropathy. And he said I would be lose the functioning in my legs and my arms. He attempted to give me Neurontin. And at that time, I was working with the mentally disabled. And I said, wait a minute, that's a psychotropic medication. And he says, no, not in the dosage that I'm going to give it to you. And I said to him, well, I'm not taking that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, you'll be back. And I said to him, I bet you I'll never be back. And once I put it,
Oh no, we dropped. She dropped again. All right, we'll wait for her to
Oh,
come back.
she's
she
still
still there?
here. Something happened with her audio though. She's not muted. So
Okay,
Afriye, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
yeah, Afua, your audio connection is a little wonky. So if you could, I don't know if logging off and coming back in would help. I don't know. Um,
pausing.
Say
So
again.
I was saying at the time I was 199 pounds and I started exercising.
Okay,
Okay, we may not be able to continue with things
right.
as they are. So, I mean, she gave a
Yeah.
really
So we,
powerful picture that we can speak from.
yes, yes. And so my own personal health journey is one of which, led me to practice the way that I do. I'm trained as a chiropractor. But before I was a chiropractor, I was an engineer. I went to school, I got a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. Then I went to University of Pennsylvania and got a master's degree in systems engineering and realized that I did not like engineering because back in the 80s, when I was in school, college, there was a push, and it probably still is, a push for minority female engineers. And because I was great at math and science, they said, you should be a good engineer. And I, me being, of how, aware, I said, well, if I'm good at math and science, I could do that. And I did it. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't a passion. I worked in corporate America for a few years and before I bounced and realized that, that's not my calling. Even though I'm great at math and science, that's not my calling. And finally landed in chiropractic. And what attracted me to chiropractic in the first place was the ability to use your hands to adjust the spine or adjust whatever and help people heal themselves. As my practice evolved, actually, I went to school. Okay. I went to school and graduated valedictorian of my class in chiropractic school, first Black female valedictorian in school's 100-year history. I had a child while I was in chiropractic school. I did a residency in chiropractic orthopedics afterwards, had a child during that. And so me going to chiropractic school was a life-changing experience. I met my husband out there. I had my 2 children while I was there. And then when I went and started practicing, I got disenchanted with chiropractic. Now, this is the thing that I said, well, this is great, because, they're using the hands, you're adjusting, you're energizing. Um, and I was like, I felt like a mechanic. I felt like a mechanic, and I felt like people were not truly getting better. I didn't like the fact that they were coming as often as they had to, or had to come for maintenance and all these different things as in chiropractic. I see you, Teresa. Let me just finish this one point. And so my practice evolved, and I finally started asking questions. I said, you know what? Chiropractic is based on the idea that there's a subluxation or a joint out of place, a bone out of place that's causing nervous energy from your nervous system not to energize the part that needs to be energized. But what causes the subluxation? What causes the bone out of place? And as soon as I started studying that, everything changed for me. And that's when I started studying BEST, um, and looking at how our thoughts have an impact on how our bodies run. So our thoughts cause subluxation. Our thoughts cause things to become out of alignment. And if you can change your thoughts and put things back in alignment, then your body has the tendency to heal. I have Teresa, you have your hand raised.
Good morning. This is a very important subject for me because I've been dealing with sickness since I was 16 years old. And after a while, I just believed that I was just thought I was supposed to be sick. I never even thought about like living a life that was not about sickness. And then when you go to the doctors reinforce sickness. Your family members reinforce sickness. The people that's around you, they constantly tell you to take this pill, take this pill. And then not only that, it's like when you ask them, it's like, why are you giving me a pill? They was like, oh, because it does it. I said, but is it going to help it? So it wasn't until like the last 2 years, and especially like the last 4 years, but then especially this last year is when I realized is that I I didn't want to be sick anymore. And when they told me that they saw the cancer last year, that's when my whole mindset actually changed so much to stop, like looking at the sickness. And so because I was having like really, really bad symptoms, but I kept on saying to myself, the doctors say that they see cancer, but I wasn't. And if I made the mistake and I said those words, I would say no, I cancel, that statement, I don't have it. And I just started loving on myself and start telling myself that, I was whole. I started seeing myself traveling. I started seeing myself doing different things that I never thought I would do because I always was in the mind sick. I was always in the mind of being a disabled person. So I never saw like living a free life out of being sick. So I do believe what you're saying is that just in this little bit of time, just with me speaking life over myself is what's causing me to heal because I've been dealing with the lymphedema since I was 16. And so the doctors, it was they were saying there's nothing, like everything that they said they saw in me, it says it's never going to go away. And I was like, well, you're lying. I said you was lying, but then I was still taking it on. And I actually, like I said earlier, I actually feel like it was a being that actually I took on a being of sickness. So I feel like it actually became like a person besides within myself. So,
Mhm.
but it's from the words I was speaking to myself on a
Def-
daily basis. And I,
Definitely. Thank
and I
you.
thank you
Thank you,
for this.
Teresa. Yes, definitely. It's not just the words that you're speaking, it's the words that you're saying inside your head. I think that's even more impactful because the internal conversations that we're having, um, the background conversations are from our subconscious, and our subconscious thinking is over 80% of our thinking. And so our surface thoughts, being optimistic and all that kind of stuff, um, can look good on the surface level, but underneath, if the conversation is one of I don't like myself. I don't like my relationships. I don't like my body. I don't like. It just reinforces and causes um, you to be not aligned with the universal consciousness, which is perfect, whole, and complete. Is the diametrically opposed conversation. So there's no way that you can have perfect health if your internal conversation, is diametrically opposed to that. And so just the awareness that your thoughts can change your health, I think, is a new concept to a lot of people. And it's not just being positive and perky. It's much deeper than that. Much deeper than that. It's the knowledge or the knowingness of who you truly are, and aligning with that. All right, Amal. Amal has her hand raised.
Yes, you know, it occurred to me that years ago, I was doing a program, and after a while, you know, I didn't want to do it anymore, but I kept forward because I didn't have the courage to say, you know, I want to just not do this anymore. And I'll be doggone if I did not take a fall and injured my knee and had to go into surgery, which meant that I couldn't complete the program. So you're right. You know, when you're not true to yourself, when you're not in perfect alignment, and know that everything is in divine order, stuff happens. That's all I can say. So
Yeah.
I learned that lesson the hard way.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, so can we go to the next slide? And yes, Amal always looks beautiful. Jacqueline says you look beautiful, Amal.
Thank you.
So grievances. Grievances are the root cause of all our ailments. And I'm not just talking about, major grievances. I'm talking about pet peeves. I don't like, why is she wearing that? Or just being annoyed with your spouse. So this is the time that I'm going to have you write out your grievances. So you may have a grievances against the person or your workplace. That you don't like how things are done a certain way. You may have grievances with the government or your mother, your father. I just wanted you to take a moment and start jotting down the things that aggrieve you. And so what are your grievances? What are the things that you just don't like? You just don't like how that is. I don't like, let's see, I don't like when, I don't like repeating things just to repeat them, just because of ritual. I don't like people who make assumptions that I don't know. I don't like um, I don't like feeling contained. So this whole COVID thing of, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. Yeah. Yeah, so the question was ritual. And so I know that there are people in this community that honor ritual, that has a certain place in exemplifying or elevating a space. I'm speaking of ritual in the sense of this is how we do it, and this is the way that we do it, and we've always done it this way, and so that's just how it is. That's what I'm speaking of as far as ritual. I think that being open to what's happening in the moment is a higher energetic space, as opposed to reverting to what has happened in the past and going back to the past as a template for how things should be done in the present. That's my grievance as far as ritual is concerned.
Sure. Jewa, is it okay for me to jump in here?
Sure.
Okay, great. So I love what you just brought forth. There's two things I'll say about this. There's a story about a woman who would make her pot roast all the time, and she would cut the ends off of the pot roast and put it in the pot and then cook up the pot roast. And this is what she had to do. And I believe one day she got it from her grandmother, and her grandmother got it from her grandmother. And I believe one day she inquired about why that was, because she made up that that is the way you cook pot roast. And then in the inquiry discovered that the reason why the ends were being cut off was because the pot wasn't big enough to fit the pot roast. And so
Exactly.
this ritual was created, and it's like hard and fast, and you got to follow it. And it was really about the practicality in the moment, or like just what worked in the moment. And I believe that there are a lot of things that are aligned with that. Someone made something up in the moment, and now this is absolutely how it needs to be. And there's this level of rigidity and control around it. And we don't even know why. We're just following along. And the final thing that I will say about myself is, I discovered several years ago that what I do as far as spontaneity and improv is a gift and not just some random thing. And not everybody is wired this way. So in this space and in other spaces, I can be in the moment and something can happen and I can shift gears and create something else. And I didn't know it was a gift. I just was like, isn't that what everybody does? And it's not what everybody does. In fact, when I co-create with people or co-facilitate in institutions and organizations, the agenda must be followed. There's no space for shifting. And I'm like, sometimes the human beings that are on the other side of the training or the facilitation or the workshop need you to go in another direction. And if you refuse, you miss the opportunity to really bless people. So I just wanted to share that about ritual and versus and rigidity. So even around ritual, we need to be open to what spirit gives us in the moment to shift gears.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Shawnee. Um, when I do workshops, um, don't have an agenda. I don't give them a syllabus. I don't give them an outline. I don't give them anything, and it drives people nuts because the whole idea of wanting to know what's next, or reviewing what is or having an idea or developing a perception of how the day is going to unfold based on the outline that's in front of them, is really interesting because it's an idea of controlling your environment and making sure that you are safe. Everything that is done from an egoic perspective, it always has to do with safety and security. So the whole idea of I want to know how my day is going to go is a safety issue because you don't feel safe. The idea, the ego will tell you that you don't feel safe unless you know exactly what's going to happen in the way that's going to happen, because they're counting on, your ego is counting on you utilizing your past experiences and bringing them to the present moment, so you will be stuck in the cycle of egoic thinking and not being in present time consciousness, which is all about God and all about universal consciousness. So anytime that you are present in the moment, you are in alignment with perfect, whole, and complete. Every time that you are present and accepting of what's going on in the present moment, and seeing everything unfolding as the way that it should, as opposed to preferences and grievances about how things should happen, that's when we start getting out of alignment. You're shooting all over yourself. That's like I like to say, you're shooting all over yourself when you're doing that. So the comment, I missed that. Can someone read that for me?
All right. So Shawnee comment. She says, when I work in white institutions, they are unnerved when I share that I don't choose to use an agenda for the meetings, especially when I'm doing anti-racist work training. That control and rigidity, monitoring of time and content is a white patriarchal construct, and it can be extremely oppressive.
It is extremely oppressive. And we as African Americans have indoctrinated ourselves in that. And, you know, I have friends who are from Bermuda, and they will tell you right off the bat that, you know, they are just as rigid or even more rigid than their white counterparts that settled on the island, the English that settled on their island, and introduced them to these concepts. I mean, things had to be a certain way. I have a group, I teach a class on Tuesday nights, and I have a lot of people who are from the Caribbean nations, from Jamaica, and then from South America, from Guyana and Haiti, and they will tell you, you know, how they were indoctrinated as kids, the expectations, the rigidity. You know, you have to, your worth was predicated on your grades and your behavior, and how you looked, and how you acted. And all these things had nothing to do with recognizing that you're perfect, whole, and complete. Nothing at all. It's basically reinforcing the idea that perfect, whole, and complete was outside of you, and you had to do something to attain it. So yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. If someone can read the comments, they're going so fast on my screen. I would just like to appreciate and have those comments read so that people can hear them.
Sure. So from Facebook, Sherry Turner Sophus, she says constructs limit creativity and ability. And Denise West says, I work with some of that. There must be an agenda for a 10-minute discussion as if it's protocol.
Yes. Lord help me, yes, from Kimberly Osler. Yes. Yeah, it's deep. It's deep. And then, but you know, we have to also understand how we are having that crop up in our own life experience. You know, these perceptions, these grievances, these ways of doing things, these preferences that run our lives, that have nothing to do with alignment with perfect, whole, and complete, but everything to do with the idea of safety and control. And so the whole idea of safety and control knocks us off of our square of perfect, whole, and complete. And allows for disease processes to start, because the whole idea of control means that now I'm responsible for making sure that everything in my life is running, as opposed to knowing that everything in my life is running the way that it should, which is God consciousness, universal consciousness. Now I'm responsible. So as being responsible, I have to take on the burden and the weight of that. So I have to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and this is here and that is there. And no, you can't do this. And I want this way. And it becomes this huge thing now that is running our lives without us really being consciously aware of it. That's the thing. Most people come in my office and not even aware of all the different stuff that they're holding, all the different the isms that they're holding, that are running their lives. And because a lot of it can be subconscious conditioning. So our status came from material things and from worshiping the white God, the conditioning. I couldn't finish the reading that by fast. Can you finish for me?
True, our status came from material things and from worshiping the white God. The conditioning took us from within to outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the whole idea of God consciousness. Now, let me just clarify when I speak of God, I'm not speaking of anybody, a person, white, black, or indifferent. You know, I'm speaking of an energy, a source energy that empowers and runs everything, and that we are emanations of that. So just like an ocean has salt and all the different minerals and everything else, the ocean itself would be that consciousness. that cosmic energy. This is in this analogy, and we would be a drop in that ocean. So everything that is contained, that is the ocean, is in that single drop, and that's us. Okay, so that's what I'm speaking of when I speak of God consciousness. So just remember, when you feel yourself trying to control your environment, and it's so insidious and so subtle, the things that we do, that unless you are awake to it and aware to it, you had no idea. But just start noticing how you think you have to do things a certain way, or things have to be a certain way in order for you to feel safe and in control. That's a clear sign that you're not in alignment with perfect, whole, and complete. Okay, so can we go to the next slide? So just grievances. So lesson 69, which is tomorrow's lesson in the Course in Miracles. I read the Course in Miracles every day. I've been reading the Course in Miracles for the past, for over 10 years now. And so my grievances hide the light of the world in me. That's tomorrow's lesson. My grievances hide the light of the world to me. So the light of the world, or you are the light of the world. Because, when we think of God, we think of love, light, peace, happiness. And so the light of the world, meaning God consciousness, is hidden by my grievances. It's like a cloak, or a cloud that obscures it, but the light is still shining. Doesn't go away. So your health, perfect health, is still a part of you. It's just that you have to take off the layers of gunk that is obscuring it. And the layers of gunk is your thinking. Okay, next slide. So every physical complaint is an expression of an unlearned lesson. Now, my teacher of the best technique, Dr. M.T. Morter Jr., stated this. And this was my introduction into how thoughts are things, and that thoughts create your reality. So every physical complaint is an expression of an unlearned lesson. So I want to, before I speak on this, I want to have people comment on this and what they think this means. Every physical complaint is an expression of an unlearned lesson. What do you mean by unlearned lesson? I think that's the most important part of that phrase. What unlearned lessons are we speaking of?
I wouldn't mind taking a stab at that. I'm thinking that an unlearned lesson would be one, oh my God, it's just like, wait a minute, would be one where it's against the universal law. So you see something out in front of you, and which would be mentalism, if you refer it back to you and see where in there you've done that. If you put that, you lay blame somewhere else, then that was something that was unlearned. And then that thinking thing, because that might put you in a victim, let's say, put you in a victim mood. And as a victim, you feel less than, your vibration lowers, and then disease attacks. So that's where I'm thinking that goes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Amal. I'm practicing learning. That's from Jacqueline, sorry. Unlearned lessons are lessons that we ignore. Thank you, Adam. Lessons that you are resisting. That's from Karen. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, so if you think, let me just say this. From this moment on, I'm going to encourage you to think of your life as your classroom, as your life as your curriculum, that you came here to learn certain things or to overcome certain things. And those things are presented to you over and over again until you learn the lesson. And usually from the time that you're born to around 7 years old, the syllabus of your curriculum has been really laid out. You have been exposed to your parents or to the people who helped raise you, your siblings, you have a community, you have your teachers and everything else. You have certain ways of doing things. So there's now been laid out an outline of things that you were here to heal. So, for example, if you were born into a household and your father had substance abuse and your mother, let's see, your mother slept around and that impacted you in a certain way, then you would know that addiction or substance or any kind of abuse, substance abuse, would be something that you would have to overcome, or the idea of addiction. And addiction could take on a different form, like food or drink or anything like that. Let me just say, for those people on Facebook and on Zoom who have to leave, I'm stopping here for a second to thank you for being a part of this call. I know that you may have to leave. We're approaching the 8 o'clock hour. Thank you for joining us. And if you are interested in the class that I'm holding this Saturday called Shift Happens, you can go to the chat and see where that is listed. And then also the replay of this morning session would have that information as well. And I thank you. Thank you for joining us. Okay. So every physical complaint is an expression of an unlearned lesson. So early on, we're shown the things that we need to heal. It could be, things that your father showed you, things that your mother showed you, things that your siblings showed you that seem to happen over and over again in your life. And without really understanding that it was your information to heal, you just kept on going and trying to heal it or try to address it from here. So the boyfriend that kept, the boyfriends that kept cheating on you, you jumped him and got another boyfriend that was the exact same guy, different person, different look, different, but was the exact same person. How many of you have had that experience that, you break off with one guy and you date somebody else and they started off different, but they turned into the same guy. And the reason why they turn into the same guy is because you are attracting energetically the thing that you need to heal. And that's the best way that I can put it right now without going any deeper. But energetically, you're attracting to you the things that you need to heal. So your disease or physical complaints are a result of you not addressing these things that keep coming to you that need to be addressed. So you may be employed in a certain place and you were discriminated against, or they treated you badly, or you had some issues. You go and you move across the country and you get another job, and the same thing starts happening again. It's not the job, it's what's happening in your consciousness that you're magnetizing to you the experience that needs to be healed. And so as a result of this, you may have physical complaints. You start having stomach aches and headaches, or ovarian cysts, or digestive problems. And all these are a result of these unlearned lessons, or the consciousness of, I don't like this. This is happening to me. I prefer, I have grievances. And as a result, your health starts diminishing. Jacqueline has her hand up.
Oops, good morning. I was trying to negotiate this stuff here.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah, I don't even, okay, I'm on, thank you. I've been having a lot of issues with my eyes lately and things in my head, in my brain. And I've been sitting back trying to figure out, where is this coming from? What thoughts are happening that are, manifesting in this situation? Like I actually had an attack on my eyes 2 weeks in a row. Things coming, I poured something in it one day by accident. And then just 2 days ago, I had these electrodes in my head for them to check my brain waves because I had really bad headaches a couple of weeks ago and my neck was stiff. I couldn't move it. And it was like a migraine. If that's what a migraine feels like, it was, I begged God to kill me because it was so bad.
Mhm.
I finally had to go to the emergency room. So they've been doing all these tests and the EEG is being repeated because before it showed seizures, which there's been no evidence in my life of any kind of epilepsy or seizures, anything of that matter. So I said, well, maybe there was a malfunction. So we did the test again. And I don't think anything significant is going to come out of it. But when I rinsed the stuff out of my hair, because they were supposed to remove it, but they wanted me to do it at home, it got into my eyes. So now I have scratches on my cornea and I have to take these drops, antibiotic drops and anti-inflammatory drops and artificial tears for a few weeks. I got to see them next week. But I'm just like, what's going on that this is happening all of a sudden? I didn't have these issues before. I had other issues and I was working on those. But I noticed that the one thing that keeps coming back is, and I think I typed it in the chat, is that this annoyance I have about being misunderstood. And then I realized I'm not really being clear about what I want or what I need from another individual when I'm in relationship with them. And I guess I want them to read my mind. So I'm just like, I'm throwing that out to the community because I know there's something there that I'm not seeing. And I'm at a loss to what's going on.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There's a book that I'm going to recommend to everybody. If you don't already have it in your library, and it's called "You Can Heal Your Life" by Louise Hay. You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And I like the book for um, the foundation that it gives us, because this conversation that we're having right here, that's the conversation that's happening in the book, how your consciousness or what you're thinking about has an impact on your health. And in the back, they have a glossary or an appendix that lists most of the physical ailments: headaches, loss of eyes, blurry vision, laryngitis. I mean, all these, just a whole list, is several pages long, of all of these different physical ailments and diseases and the thoughts that are related to them. So it's not take 2 Tylenol and call me in the morning. It's you have low back pain because you are concerned about money. You don't feel supported. You have trouble seeing or blurry vision because you don't want to see the truth. You have laryngitis or problems with speaking, with raspiness, or just plain old laryngitis. And that's because you're afraid to speak your truth. So I highly recommend that, just to give an idea of how you are creating your physical ailments based on unlearned lessons. I'm not speaking my truth. So, I joke with a friend of mine. We talk often. She's in the spiritual community, Reverend Valerie Love, and we joke about how our information is shown to us. The things that we need to heal is shown to us in gradual stages. So you will have a nudge, something will happen and it's like, oh, let me see, what's a good one? Okay, so let's take the eyes, for example. You get something in your eye. You constantly getting stuff in your eye, and you have to clean it out. Okay, you're not really addressing the issue of what's going on with things getting in your eyes in the first place. Things just seem to happen that things get in my eyes. Okay, so not really addressing. So that's what can be considered a nudge. And then things escalate that something falls on your eyes and causes contusion. You had to wear a patch now because something's happening to your eyes. And now that's more like a shove as opposed to a nudge. And then something may happen where happens that you wake up and you can't see. I've had people come to my office where they come in and they have lost some of their vision for no apparent reason, other than they woke up and all of a sudden they just couldn't see as well. Things were fuzzy, that kind of thing. And then that's a shove. I mean, like that's like throwing you down the steps kind of thing. Now your vision is starting to become jeopardized because you're not addressing the idea, the unlearned lesson that you're choosing not to see something that needs to be healed. So so instead of focusing outwardly as to what's happening, start looking at, what am I avoiding looking at? What's happening in my life that I choose to not look at? And then start looking at that and unteasing that. And that will start healing the eye problem. So it's things like that we're speaking of. Start looking at what's coming in front of you, what's being presented in front of you, and dealing with that from an internal point of view, as opposed to trying to fix it externally by changing your circumstances, changing your partners, changing your jobs, all the different things that we change in order to supposedly solve a problem, when the problem keeps happening because it's portable, because it's inside of us. It's moving and following us because it's in us. It's in our consciousness. And so really cleaning up our consciousness will put us more in alignment with perfect, whole, and complete. All the different things that are causing us not to be in alignment with perfect, whole, and complete need to be addressed. Okay, so next slide, please. I see with love and joy, I am free. Can you finish reading that for me? I couldn't finish that.
Okay, those are the affirmations from the book. So I was addressing this to Jacqueline. The book says represents the meaning of the eye, represents the capacity to see clearly past, present, and future. And the affirmations are, I see with love and joy. I am free and look ahead freely because life is eternal and filled with joy. I see with loving eyes. No one can ever hurt me.
Yeah. Yes. And then that's the thing that you can do to affirm, but you still would want to address the thing that you're not looking at. So that's a step of acknowledging, but still want to take a deeper look as to what you're not looking at. So my grievances hide the light of the world in me. So, you are perfect, whole, and complete. You are the light of the world. But your grievances, your preferences, your perceptions, your judgments. How many of you are judgy? Most of us are. We judge, even down to, why is she wearing that? That's a judgment. So, yeah. So grievances, judgments, synonymous. They hide the light of the world in me. So let go of your grievances, let go of your judgments, and just start being present without the preferences. Next slide. So when you replace, why is this happening to me, with what is this trying to teach me? Everything shifts. So now you become out of victim mode. Why is this happening to me? Which is, victim mode is always over here in the ego, to what is this trying to teach me? This is a step towards God consciousness or universal consciousness. What is it inside of me that I'm magnetizing to me that is needs to be addressed, so that I can release it, so that I can be a closer step, or even a step closer to perfect, whole, and complete. Any comments on this? So shifting from why is this happening to me to what is this teaching me? What is this trying to teach me? So anybody, any comments?
I just what I see that is teaching me is that I've been running away from things for years, and when I started facing things and started seeing answers about my life that I never didn't want to face, and so and learning like different tools to get healed, so I can so I'm whole, perfect, and complete, because the longer you run from stuff, the more that your authentic self will show up. And just really being comfortable with who I am. Like when I made a decision that I wanted to do, I wanted to deal with what the doctor was saying my way. I had a lot of like a lot of fight back. But I was like, you know what? I feel confident in me that the spirit's guiding me what to do. So I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna listen to me this time. And I just felt so liberated. I mean, I was scared, I was angry because, my family, the people wasn't hearing me, but I was determined that I had to do it the way it was more comfortable for me. And taking that route, I got free. And it's like, it's a freedom that I've never experienced. So it's a new way of living. And, I'm like, sometimes I show up, I'm like, who are you? Like, I've never seen you in your life before, because I have not been being myself. And so now that I'm showing up, as Teresa Lorraine Scott, it's like a whole new life for me. And it's different, but I want to do it.
Yeah,
I want to
thank you.
walk with it.
Yes, congratulations and thank you for showing up.
I'm thanking myself too for showing up.
Amal has her hand raised.
Yeah, I have gotten into the step with everything is in divine order. So if everything is ordered, is divinely ordered by God, then it is obviously for my highest good. So then I have to go and ask Spirit, okay, so what does this mean for me? And it leads into the dialogue that you just mentioned. So my statement always, it's in divine order. So we have to just see why.
Right.
Or ask Spirit why.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so why is this happening to me? Takes you out of victim mode. I mean, why is this happening to me? Puts you in victim mode. And what is this trying to teach me? As I think Denise said, it makes you the author of your life. It's basically, you get to rewrite the script. So if you feel like you're in a rut, or you feel like your life is the same as it was 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago, or even a month ago, you're recreating the same circumstances, the same thing. Your money hasn't changed. Your relationships haven't changed. Your health hasn't changed. And you've tried everything outwardly to change. Now you can understand why it hasn't changed, because it's not an external job, it's an internal job. You have to start looking at the things that you need to heal, um, you know, things that you have to give forth or let go of, that need to be addressed. Shah, who's Patet? Did I say it right?
No, but I like to try. Great day, great day. Lady Jewa, I am Sahu's feet. Greetings, Wu family. I love to say my name, Sahu's feet. I just wanted to comment that look at my eyeballs this morning. My skin, okay. So I wanted to comment about the, okay, so I do reflexology and massage and holistic healing. And one thing in terms of reflexology that I love is that when we think about the eyes, like the hands, the feet, the ears are a map of the whole body. And when we think of eye disorders, we can always look at the fingertips. We can look at we can always look at the tips of the toes. Those are areas in the body that we will work with. And we have affirmations that go with that also too. So one for the eyes is, I can now see exactly what I need to see around me to feel completely fulfilled. So when I'm working on the clients and I'm working on their tips, their fingertips, I can say those affirmations and give them to the clients if I need to. But I love today because like we have so many things around us, and there's no reason for us to really like dwell in the mud every day, all year, because we have so many resources just within this body that we can tap into, and just within this mind that we can tap into. So I'm really, really, it's just so great to hear you. It's like a breath. How you say that? It's a breath of fresh air. Yes. Yes. So thank you so much for that. And I also have, so what I was getting my divorce years ago, right? And right after my divorce, 6 months later, I threw my back out, right? And I didn't know how that happened. I was just like, we had a, you call that a pull-out couch. And I was just pulling it out. But in that moment, my back went out. And later on, when I went to my room and I'm thinking, what was I thinking? What was I thinking during that time? And I was thinking about this, what was happening with the relationship itself, what I had to do next. I had to, am I going to move? And where am I going to work at? Is the job going to be fulfilling? All of that. What's going to happen with my children, with myself, just thinking about all of that. And that's when the lower back, it fell out. So thank you so much for this. And I've noticed that in the relationship since then, as soon as I feel something happening with my back, I back up and I breathe. I'm like, okay, Salisbury, we are never going there again, never. And I just start thinking about what are my thoughts, and I'm breathing, and then I'm writing stuff in my book. Okay, let's deal with that. Let's deal with this. Let's deal with that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sahuspi. Did I say it right?
You did. And where are you based?
I'm in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, thank you.
But
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm in Detroit, and I have clients all over the world who I interact with and been able to interact with during this whole COVID-19 thing, via Zoom, via phone calls. So yeah, the work that I do has not stopped in helping people understand how powerful their thoughts are and the impact that it has on their health. So when you replace, why is this happening to me, to what is this trying to teach me, your identification shifts from victim to victor, because now you're taking yourself on as opposed to just wallowing and being benign. Okay, so next one, please. So the technique that I do is called bioenergetic synchronization technique, or BEST for short, and it looks at emotional memory patterns, conscious, but most importantly, subconscious emotional memory patterns. So most of our thinking is subconscious. Scientists are saying that probably anywhere from 80 to 95% of our thinking is based on subconscious emotional memory patterns. We're responding, our bodies are are responding to past circumstances as though they are present based on past experiences. So what BEST looks at, it looks at breaking that pattern. It's almost like, for those of us who are old enough to remember, I think everybody on this call is, old LPs. And you had the LP and you put the needle on and it would stay in the groove. And then you would have hit a scratch, it would just, start repeating over and over again. And so what BEST does is it's like the nudge that gets you out of that scratch and stops you from repeating over and over again these patterns, and breaks that pattern so that now you have a clean slate on which to operate and reestablish your thinking. You can become right-minded as opposed to sleepwalking, I would say. Sleepwalking through your life, being an active participant in the curriculum that is being presented to you on a moment-to-moment basis, and being able to address that in a way so that's meaningful and elevating and purposeful. And so your life is not happening to you, your life is happening for you and for your ascension, for your reclamation of your place of your birthright, of your divine birthright. Next slide, please. So this is me with my hair done. In my book, Core Perfectum, What You Don't Know About Your Heart May Be Killing Your Life. I presented a couple of times here in the Woo community on the heart. This is my first talk about what I actually do in my practice, with the technique, BEST technique, and talking about mindfulness and mastery. But this heart book is a natural extension of this. And I'm sure there are recordings of those previous presentations that you can look at. You can find the book on Amazon. And I highly recommend it, not because I wrote it, but because it's really great information about how you can improve not just your heart health, but your overall health by changing your consciousness, by understanding how all of this works, how your consciousness works. Okay. And so the three things that you can do to change your consciousness would be going to your breath and being present, breathing in, imagining breathing in and out of your heart space, and allowing yourself to feel elevated emotions. That is a surefire way of resetting yourself to a place where now you have a platform where you can actually start thinking clearly enough to address what's being presented in front of you. So if anyone has any comments, any questions, we are almost near the end of this presentation. Any comments about what we shared about consciousness and how shifting your consciousness can change and improve your life, and the whole conversation around that. This is probably a new conversation for some of you, but it is one that I would love to continue with you as we go forth. And so this class that I have happening on Saturday, which will be mentioned later on in the slides, from, I think it's from 9 to 11, just a mini class, is I put it together so as an introduction to a broader conversation, that a new conversation that you can have in regards to your health and what healthy living looks like from a holistic point of view. Adam has his hand raised.
Yes, before Adam does, let me just address the chat, which you had mentioned before. So Louise says, this is a powerful conversation, victim versus what is my lesson. And Jacqueline says, I have to fight that feeling of being a victim in my relationships.
Yes.
And Adam?
Thanks, Dr. Jewa, for having this wonderful conversation. I believe this is a very powerful conversation that everyone needs to have with themselves, including myself. I believe that whenever you conform into somebody else's world that never serves you, your ancestors, and your family members for that long, and then you enter into it yourself, you end up making yourself sick as well as your children sick as well. So my whole thing is try to, create your own world and try to, set your own values and principles as opposed to you trying to, live into somebody else's world that doesn't care about you. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
So Teresa had a question about the book, A Course in Miracles. And so this is my worn out copy of The Course in Miracles. And it's called the combined volume. The combined volume, Course in Miracles. Make sure I'm doing this right. There we go. Combined volume, A Course in Miracles. This is what you want to get if you're interested in the Course in Miracles. And so, yes.
Can I just say one thing about the Course in Miracles? It is best to find a group to do it with because it's something that is very difficult to get through.
Yes.
You can carry on that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So let me just say that I've been studying A Course in Miracles with the group called Circles of Light Ministries. They have an excellent program, and their whole foundation is and teachings are anchored in A Course in Miracles because it's a textbook for ancient Egyptian mysticism, basically. It's a modern day textbook for ancient Egyptian mysticism. Most people don't even realize that in universal law. And so having a group to study under or study with really helps unpack this, because the course is 180 degrees and totally diametrically opposed to the thinking that we have been indoctrinated into this in this incarnation. So it can be mind bending and mind twisting because we're undoing all these mental constructs that we have developed over time and replacing them with a different way of seeing the world from a God consciousness perspective. That's the best way that I can put it. So if you're interested in studying Course in Miracles, I would highly recommend Circles of Light Ministries. If you go to circlesoflight.net, circlesoflight.net, they start every January 1st. So you missed out this year, but they still have activities that you can start becoming involved in. And they have Zoom calls that talk about these things too, that we're talking about consciousness. Earlier this year or last year when the whole pandemic broke, they had a series called Virus versus Vibration. Then they had another series called I versus They. So what am I saying compared to what the world is saying? And so the whole idea of what you're thinking about is the foundation to A Course in Miracles and studying a new way of thinking. So if you get A Course in Miracles, align yourself with a group that is really about understanding the truth of what the book is saying and unpacking it in a certain way that makes sense. And you'll know it when you feel it. Anything else? Any other comments that I missed while I was going off on that?
Well, Louise shared that her dad had a church called the Universal Church of Metaphysics. So many things that you're sharing align with what he taught.
Yes. Yeah, everything that I spoke of would be considered metaphysics. Meta being beyond, and physics means physical, beyond the physical. So this is a beyond the physical conversation. Our health and wellness is a beyond the physical conversation. It's an energetic conversation. It's a thought conversation. You know, in the beginning, there was the word, there was thought. And so it begins and ends with thought, with consciousness. So the three things that you can use to change your consciousness is the breath, is to be focusing on your breath. And then also focusing on your heart and breathing in and out through your heart, being in tune with your heart, just putting your awareness in your heart. So if I asked you to put your awareness in your right elbow right now, just take a moment and just place your awareness in your right elbow. You have a sense of where your right elbow is, what it feels like, and your awareness is placed there. Now just take that same awareness. Now shift your awareness to the center of your chest, to your heart. And that's what I'm speaking of. It's consciously putting your thought energy to that space and just being present in that space. That's the second thing that you can do. Third thing you can do is breathing into that space and having thoughts of gratitude, having thoughts of appreciation, elevated thoughts. And that will help shift your consciousness from a negative to a positive vibration almost instantaneously. You won't feel like the same from when you began that process to the end. You will feel elevated, you will feel different. And there are other things that we can speak on, that I will speak on Saturday, that will go a little bit deeper into this whole new way of being, and being from a consciousness point of view, of being from not a physical being, but being from an elevated energetic state, and embracing the perfect whole and completeness that we are, and identifying and understanding that we have to identify the things that we need to heal, that we don't have to search very far because they're magnetized to us. We just have to be awake and aware of the things that are being presented to us that need to be healed in order for us to move upward in our ascension, in our personal journey. Any questions, any comments before we dismiss?
I don't see any comments and I don't see any hands raised.
All right. So I want to thank everybody for showing up. Facebook community, thank you. Thank you for your participation this morning. We have a couple of things that we want to say before we adjourn completely. Thank you, Teresa. Grateful for showing up today and receiving such healing. Thank you.
Was there one more slide of yours?
No, I think that's it. I think we're
Okay.
done. Mhm.
All right, so I'm going to put up your special offer slide and you can begin to speak about that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So this Saturday, from 9 to 12, I'm sorry, 9 to 11, I'm having a Shift Happen class. Shift Happens class. And it's basically going to go a little bit deeper than we did this morning. An hour and a half is just not enough time to really go into it. In fact, I have a class that's longer than this. So this is more, I think this is an introductory class that you can take place on. It's $25 with a discount code WUE. So before you go to the website to sign up for it, that will be ready at 10 o'clock this morning. So that code that you see, store.drjewa.com, after 10 o'clock this morning, you can sign up for the class. And I will see you on Saturday, 9 to 11. It'll be a Zoom class, of course, so that we can see each other and participate fully. So I encourage you, if you have friends and family that you think this would resonate with, I encourage you to come out and join the class, and let's see what we can unpack. Let's see what kind of shifts that can take place in a mere 2 hours. I've seen amazing things happen. Amazing things, just saying. Next slide. So if you want to get in contact with me, and I know a couple of you have already done that on my previous sessions, and thank you for that follow-up. My contact number is 301-388-8088. On Instagram, you can follow me. I'm there occasionally sharing nuggets of knowledge or sharing other people's nuggets of knowledge on my feed at Dr. Jewa. My email is info@drjewa.com, and my websites are drjewa.com, and the Jewa spelled Jewa, and my store is store.drjewa.com. All right. Thank you, Iora. Okay. So love offerings and donations can be made via Zelle or QuickPay to SOW leadership development at gmail.com, or you can Cash App at $Spirit of a Woman. So I thankfully accept any donations that you would give for my time and my offering this morning. And the code that you would use in conjunction with the Zelle or the QuickPay, so I make sure that it comes to me, would be hashtag 278JL. 278 for today's session, number 278, and JL for my initials, Jewa Lea. So hashtag 278JL. And again, the Zelle is SOW leadership development at gmail.com. And the Cash App is $Spirit of a Woman. And I humbly accept any of your offerings, and thank you for them in advance. Thank you, Cherry.
So thank you, everyone, and Dr. Jewa. So we have a special moment here where and given that this is our year anniversary, we're paying special attention to our new members. So we have this slide to recognize you and asking you to join us, continue to join us in the Zoom space Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 7 to 8:30, and Monday and Wednesday, 7 to 7:30. I'm looking to see who, and I would like to know who is new in the space. So I'm aware of Cherry, and Martine, maybe. Shawnee, can you help me out? Sharon Fant, maybe. Just giving you all a shout out.
Mhm. Yeah, they can. Martine,
Thank
I'm not
you.
sure if you've been in the space before, but Sherry, I know, and the third name that you gave. But we thank you all for your presence and participation, and encourage you to keep coming back. As Kinyofu said, in this space, we always say, no hitting it and quitting it. You have to keep on returning and co-creating in the space with all of us. And so we welcome you to do so, and you'll see the information that will allow you to register for future sessions. So thank you, Kinyofu.
All right, I'll continue with the slide deck. Sorry, pressing wrong buttons here. Okay, so next up, tomorrow specifically, join us for Claudette Joy Spence presenting Listening for Peace and Joy. And that's a 30-minute segment on our 90-minute day. The following day, Thursday, is Robin St. Clair presenting Woo Women, Affirming Who We Are. Again, we're here every day. Well, we're here 5 days a week. and 3 days we're 90 minutes, and 2 days we're 30 minutes. So you can take a screenshot of this slide so that you can have the schedule. We're always live stream on Facebook. So if you're not able to come into the Zoom space, you can see us on Facebook, but Zoom space is where all the juiciness happens. And to register. So you are in this space quite likely because you registered, but maybe not. Maybe someone gave you the link to register so that you can get the email. You want to sign up at bit.ly/wake up movement. And emails will let you know who's up next. You need to register every week. If you want to join the Facebook page, you go to bit.ly/woo community, and you'll be given, an admin will admit you, join you, approve you. And then we have the Instagram. You can find us there at Wake Up Everybody Virtual, and YouTube, Woo on YouTube. And our email, if you need to reach us, is info.wakeupseries@gmail.com for any questions or comments. And because this is our anniversary month, we are introducing our Woo swag. So feel free to
Woo swag, woo woo.
there you go. Go to bit.ly/woo swag and get your swag available right now.
Yo, you sound so uncomfortable.
Take it over, Shawnee.
No, I'm just cracking up. You ain't get your full swag right now.
You gotta leave me alone.
I'm sorry. I can't leave you alone. So, just on March 29th, we are going to be celebrating. We're celebrating all month. So we are posting daily about our Woo culture and what the Woo Nation represents. I love that Jewa in her presentation organically just shared some things that we share in the space as well. And one of them is no shooting on yourself. I don't know if that came from Ayanla or someone else, but I love that you say that too. And this, all this language is becoming more universal language so that we can all grow and transform. So get your Woo Nation swag. Come on March 29th with your sweatshirt, your t-shirt, your mug, your face mask. And yes, you could be in the session and wearing a face mask, just to represent the swag. Or if you're outside, you can be on Facebook or you can be on Zoom, just wearing it and representing what we have created in almost a year's time. On March 29th, it'll be a year, 365 days of manifestation in this space. So we invite you to purchase so that we can all be in alignment, uniform for our ascension. No rigidity, as Jewa said, but just about our flexibility and our growth and development as a community. All righty, so I'm complete, Kinyofu. All laughs, no shade.
All right. So now we're going to give our love shower to Dr. Jewa. And let me take her off the spotlight, put her into gallery view, and go for it, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jewa, for what you're doing.
Thank you so much for all of your information, for your
Thank you.
Thank you, lady. Thank you.
sharing all of that. You are with us. We appreciate it. Love.
Thank you so
Such a
much.
wonderful
It was a
presentation.
wonderful lesson.
A lot of information that you gave
Support
us
everybody.
about paradigm shift and things in a different way. Thank you so
Blessed day,
much.
everyone, and I love y'all.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Have a
Thank
beautiful
you,
day.
Hey,
Charmaine,
Laura.
Kinyofu.
Thank you,
Thank you,
thank you, thank you, thank you,
Shawnee.
thank you.
Thank
Let's
you,
move forward, everybody.
Christine,
Carl. Thank
Woo
you.
have a
Nation.
great day, everybody.
Have a great day,
Enjoy your
everyone.
day, everybody. Have a
Mwah.
great week.
Great one. Jackie.
Make it happen.
Jackie. Thank you, Jackie.
Teresa, call Dr. K.
Okay.
Have a great day, everybody. Love you.
That was
Bye-bye.
good.